Introducing the new Sony FE-7200 G OSS II lens. I'm a Sony artisan of imagery. So while Sony didn't pay me to do this video, they did send me the lens to allow me to use it for like about 3.5 weeks. Here's some footage I shot in my hotel room the morning that it arrived. Oh my gosh, 7200 f4. Look at that thing. How about that? Whoa, this is really nice. Oh, I can't believe how tiny it is. And I also love how this collar, which comes with it obviously, can come off. I won't confirm this, but I feel like the autofocus speed on this new f4 zoom is actually slightly faster than the GM2 7200. The A1 loves this lens. Even with 2x, it's great. The AF worked best on the A1, and then almost as good as that was the A7 IV and the A7R5. The macro version, this one, goes all the way to 30 frames per second all day long on the A1, and it'll give you the full 20 frames a second on A9 and A9 II. The weight of the lens, or lack of it, is 1.7 pounds, or if you're Canadian, 794 grams. It's 15% shorter than the original 7200 f4G, but I think that what's more important than that is that it's 25% shorter than the 7200 G Master. It's a macro throughout its entire zoom range. So the entire focal length range that's available, 70 to 200 millimeter, is a macro. So it's really, really quite something. Macro lenses are specifically, they make flat fields across the entire imaging area. That's what makes them awesome. Usually when you go too close to something with a non-macro lens, you start to see the bow of the optic and the edges get all fuzzy and it's just not great. This one's not like that. So it's going to be an extremely sharp lens no matter where you have it set to zoom or focus. So it's a very, very nice, organic, soft bokeh. I think you'll be very impressed with the macro pictures I show later. The other thing that's really interesting about this lens is this will give you 0.5x macro capability over the entire zoom range. The lens takes both the 1.4 and the 2x, and you can stack the 1.4 converter on top of extension tubes. Now, Sony doesn't make extension tubes at all, and they don't support extension tubes from off-brand manufacturers, but they work great. Teleconverters, the answer is yes. The new 7200 f4 macro accepts both teleconverters, the 1.4 and the 2x. With the 1.4, it becomes a 98 to 280 millimeter 5.6, and with the 2x, it becomes a 140 to 400 millimeter f8. So if you put any APS-C camera with this new lens, it means the field of view will be 105 to 300 millimeter f4, which is going to be great for a lot of people. Now the lens has internal focus design, even though the lens is an extension type. So when you zoom it, it's going to come out. Okay, so that's normal for this one. It does have 4 XD linear autofocus motors. These are super high speed, precise. They offer great tracking and deadly quiet autofocus. They also have something called floating focus. There's basically 2 different focus groups inside the lens. And as you zoom and focus, the 2 groups adjust perfectly to give edge-to-edge far focus no matter where you're at in the focal length range or where you're at in the distance range. These 2 groups work together while zooming, and you get full AF tracking while zooming, and this is supported in the A1 especially, but it'll do it in other cameras too. But on the A1, it's pretty otherworldly. Now, I shot some soccer, and I shot a series of images of a guy attacking the goal, and you're looking at that right now, and you can see that the lens is extremely quick, and I'm zooming, I'm recomposing on the fly, I'm putting him on the left side of the frame, giving him room to kick the ball on the right, and you can see that the autofocus worked great even as I was zooming. But the autofocus actually works quite well at minimum focus even with the new 7200 f4 macro. Now what I'd recommend though if you do that is I would go to tracking, flexible spot, small, because if you want to like look inside the flower to the stamen for instance, you can hit the stamen with that smaller spot and it will actually do quite a nice job of tracking it even as it's waving around. But I would say that at least 50 to 60% of the time you can actually count on autofocus
with a macro lens, which is really pretty remarkable. The lens has OSS, optical image stabilization. It is really, really good. And remember that OSS works in conjunction with the IBIS, the in-body image stabilization. So they work together, some of them doing pitch and yaw, and the others, they break up the work, giving you unbelievable quality in stabilization. The lens is so lightweight, I don't think you're gonna have to use rails with it at all. I think you're gonna be able to remove that tripod collar and just attach to an FX6, for instance, and just roll with it. It's so lightweight, and when you zoom, because most of the optics are in the center of the lens and not the front, videographers are really gonna like this one. The bokeh is really super creamy. It looks great. There's very little breathing in the lens, so if you're doing a 2-shot and you're going back and forth, you're not magnifying the autofocus image of the person. It's really, really nice. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you found it useful, and feel free to use my links, those affiliate links. Thanks so much for watching.